Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of the Pole Project. This is Ayelet as usual. How are you guys doing? I hope you are all okay. Today we are going back in time in history and I give you your first pole history lesson of your life probably. Today I wanted to cover the origins of pole dancing and how it became the sport we all know and love today. It is a relatively new sport. So I really thought it would be nice to kind of let you know all about how it started, where it got all of its different characteristics. And yeah, so let's get started. So pole was actually born around 800 years ago. That was in ancient India. The first use of pole in sport that we know of as of today was called Mallakhamb. I probably butchered that because it is spelled Mallakhamb, Mallakhamb. So they did this sport on wooden pole. It was wider than a pole we know today. They did aerial yoga, different grips. It was performed on a vertical wooden pole, as I said, or a hanging rope or hanging sticks. So I think it's also safe to say that it was the basic of aerial yoga and also trapeze maybe. I don't know. It seems like they all originated in the same way. Also, it was actually a threesome sport or more even. It was performed by large groups, but minimum 3 participants on the same pole. They would sometimes even jump from one pole to another, which if I think about it as in today's context, I'm like, no thank you. That sounds terrifying. So that was the sport part, but what about the dance? So the dance part came much later in history. It was about the end of the 19th century in the United States of America. So it started when Egyptian dancers called Ghawazi, and I will spell that as well. It's Ghawazi. They would perform belly dances in traveling sideshows or circuses. And these shows are very provocative because the women had little clothes and lots of jewelry. And do remember the time, it's not even the 20th century yet, so people were very conservative still. The women were very modest and wearing corsets and large dresses, so at the time it was very controversial. It stirred a lot of attention. In the 1920s, they started using the wooden tent poles. They would essentially dance around them in order to steer the interest of the viewers. Not long after, in a few decades, the belly dance met burlesque and the tents became bars and strip clubs were born. The actual combination between the dance and the athletic part to what we know today, it actually started only in the 80s, so only when exotic dancers started featuring athletic moves like climbs and spins into their routines. So I think it's safe to say that our sport is like maybe 40 years old. That is very young. And actually in the 90s, the first pole lesson was taught by one Fania Monday. I probably butchered her name. She is known as the world's first pole instructor. So basically, ever since then, pole dance has started to gain more and more popularity as a sport and as a fitness method. And it started becoming more and more diverse as well. People from all around the world and all around different backgrounds and different perspectives and artistic preferences started doing it, and it got more theatrical, dramatic, not only provocative and sexy, it got many faces, as many as the people who practice it. And it is now as diverse and as beautiful as a giant rainbow, which I love. So yeah, that is it for today's history lessons, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little trip through history to learn where our sport came from and how it became what it is today. I hope you enjoy this, and if you did, please follow on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts at. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at the Pole Project Podcast and on Facebook in the Pole Project. Like, follow. It will make my day if you take the time to write a review or even just send me a message. Let me know what you think about the show. Yeah, I think that is it for today. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope to see you again next week. Until then, goodbye and happy pole dancing.